Right now at noon, we'll have the latest on the snow totals from this morning's system and when the next round will start.
Plus, new information about the death of Renee Good as ice raids and protests in Minnesota continue. This is News 3 Now at noon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Spreiter. We begin with that burst of winter weather moving through southern Wisconsin overnight, leaving commuters with yet another morning of slick travel. We're on the live drive at this hour. This is Southwest Madison near Waltham Park, showing you some of those current conditions and how the neighborhoods are shaping up. This is a look at, what we're seeing out there at this hour. You can see a lot of snow-covered roads, especially for those neighborhoods. Right now, WISC-TV says many of the main roads are just partially covered with driving conditions improving. However, it will be a bit longer for crews to get some of those neighborhood roads cleaned up. Let's turn now to First Warn meteorologist Savannah Brito out on the weather patio. It's a winter wonderland out there, Savannah.
I know it almost looks like Christmas, a little confusing outside, but winter reminding us that it's still here. We actually have temperatures that have risen to above freezing level. That's helped melting some of that snow on those roadways. But yeah, back roads, neighborhoods, not off to a great start this afternoon, but we have a lot of changes on this map. We had blues and a lot of pinks this morning. Now at the lunchtime hour, we're seeing a lot of greens, but still some blues near Watertown and all north up towards the Dells, and then also east of the city of Madison. Here's the latest snowfall check. This includes through that band of snow that we saw late morning. Sullivan almost 4 inches, Heartland 3.2 inches, Beaver Dam saw 3 inches, Columbus 2.8, Portage, and I just measured 2.5 inches here at the station on the west side. Madison, Stoughton got 2.2 inches, Montello 2 inches, Partyville and Argyle 1.8 inches. We're not out of the woods yet, though. We're going to see more snow actually move back in later this afternoon. So right now, most of the radar is clear, but you see that band forming just west of Prairie du Chien out in Iowa. That's eventually going to move back in here across southern Wisconsin, leaving us with potentially some slick going traffic in the afternoon and the evening. So I do think we'll see impacts to both of those commutes later. We'll show future track and what's to come later and alert day conditions. Josh, it's going to be really cold this weekend into early next week.
All right, Savannah, we'll see you later. Thank you. Track the forecast for yourself on the First Warn weather app. It has hourly planners, road conditions, and radar. Download it for free wherever you get your apps. More local news now. A woman accused of encouraging a man to sexually assault her infant daughter is set to appear in court today. Madison Bishop faces charges of conspiracy to commit first-degree child sexual assault and failure to protect a child. The man, Skylar Clausen, pleaded guilty to first-degree sexual assault of a child sexual exploitation, and possession of child pornography. He is currently serving a 70-year prison sentence. A man accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl and abducting her from a home in Janesville is pleading not guilty. Daniel Munoz is facing several charges, including repeated sexual assault of the same child. A criminal complaint alleges he sexually assaulted a teenage girl multiple times at a home in Milton. Video of some of those acts were allegedly found on her phone. Last year, Munoz allegedly abducted the teen from her father's Janesville's home in October. The two were found at a Walworth County trailer park where Munoz allegedly admitted to having a sexual relationship with the teen. A jury trial in the case will be set for a later date. Anti-ICE protesters clashed with authorities outside a federal building in Minneapolis overnight. The embattled city has been a flashpoint since the surge of about 3,000 federal law enforcement into the Twin Cities over the last several weeks. The mayor is calling for calm in the ongoing protests, while Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says there are no plans to pull ICE out of the city. President Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act and deploy thousands of troops to Minneapolis to directly conduct law enforcement.
It provides the president with extraordinary power, and frankly, we don't have a lot of precedent to indicate that there are significant checks either from Congress or the judicial branch to second guess the president.
We're also learning new details on the deadly shooting of Renee Good. The Minneapolis Fire Department says she suffered gunshot wounds to the chest and forearm and a possible wound to the head. Paramedics arrived 5 minutes after Good was shot and found her unresponsive with an irregular pulse. Life-saving efforts were attempted on the scene and in the ambulance, but Good was pronounced dead at the hospital. Looking ahead, the city of Madison will not collect trash or recycling on Monday. This is in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Drop-off sites will also be closed. If Monday is your regular pickup day, please put your cart out by 6:30 a.m. on Tuesday the 20th. There are no changes to Tuesday's trash pickup. For more information, visit cityofmadison.com. Bus service will also be impacted for the holiday. On Monday, most routes will operate on Saturday schedules. Routes 55 and 75 will run their regular schedules. Route 80 will run a shortened schedule, and routes 81 through 84 will not operate at all. Paratransit customers must schedule a casual ride because standing rides will be canceled. A quick programming note, the NFL playoffs are right here on CBS tomorrow. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills head to Colorado to take on Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. The winner heads to the AFC Championship game to take on the winner of the Houston-New England game. Kickoff is set for 3:30. Coming up next on News 3 Now at noon, why hundreds of mini fridges are now being recalled. Plus how moviegoers are planning, or movie theaters rather, are planning to celebrate National Popcorn Day.
Curtis International is expanding a recall to include more than 300,000 Frigidaire mini fridges after they've been linked to at least 6 fires with property damage. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the mini fridges' electrical components could short circuit, and it's urging owners to unplug and immediately stop using the product, which was sold exclusively by Target. Consumers can contact Curtis International for a refund. Spotify is raising prices starting next month. The fee for the premium, ad-free, and student subscription plans will jump by $1. The duo and family plans are increasing by $2. In a statement, Spotify says the rate hikes enable the company to, quote, continue offering the best possible experience and benefit artists. And popcorn lovers can already haul in big deals for National Popcorn Day on Monday. AMC Theaters is offering a free large bucket with the purchase of its $29.95 popcorn pass today through Monday. Cinemark is again teaming up with Lowe's for its Bring Your Own Bucket deal, dishing out up to 400 ounces of popcorn for $5 plus tax to anyone who brings their own container in Sunday and Monday. Regal is asking customers to dress in a costume in order to score free large popcorn Monday only. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
Here's a look at the stock report at the noon hour. The Dow is up 10 points, NASDAQ down 1.5, and the S&P 500 up 2. Our call for action volunteers are in the building, taking your consumer complaints and taking action on your behalf. Call for action at 608-270-2833 or submit a claim anytime at channel3000.com/call for action. Pam has today's farm numbers up next, and Savannah is tracking the first warn forecast. Then later on Live at 4, we're talking with Miss Madison 2025 about the upcoming 100th anniversary pageant. Welcome back. Let's check in now with Pam Yankee for the Midwest Farm Report. Happy Friday, Pam.
Happy Friday to you too, Josh. I see that husband just went out to start shoveling snow up here in Green Bay. So again, for folks that have weekend plans, start exercising some caution out there. Not much caution when it comes to our big Dairy Strong Conference that happened yesterday here in Green Bay. Great attendance, more than 400 dairy farms from across the state represented. And one of the big topics is, where do we go from here? They were happy to hear and watch the president sign the whole milk into school lunch program again. That's one of the areas that they focused on. But there are other challenges within the state that Dairy Business Association is working on. In fact, they have boots on the ground. They have been literally taking dairy farmers along with them to different community meetings all across the state to help better educate our neighbors and those that are putting together policy on the community level, so that we see less as far as prohibiting dairies from even coming into counties or villages, and hopefully helping everybody grow healthy. So that's another one of their areas that they're working on. They're also keeping an eye on what they call GROW, which is Grassroots Organizing Western Wisconsin, Midwest Environmental Advocates, taking a look at ways that local activists are pushing for stricter control on their community. So like I said, boots on the ground, trying to get farmers mobilized to be out there. They are mobilized. I want to congratulate our friend Chuck Rip from Rip's Dairy Valley in Wanakee, because of his activities in not only talking with community leaders, but also state leaders, and always be ready to go. He was named the Advocate of the Year by the Dairy Business Association. Chuck Zuliger, the executive director of Dairy Business Association, said he's the person you can count on. Congratulations, Chuck Rip from Rip's Dairy Valley in Wanakee. Another award presented yesterday went to Tom Zwald and Steve Schala from Bomas Farms in Hamilton, western Wisconsin. They were given the Community Outreach Award by Dairy Business Association. I know those folks, and they are just outside the Twin Cities. They make concerted efforts to try to create events and opportunities for the non-farm consuming public to come out to the farm, see how dairy farming really is, and also get their questions asked. So they were presented the Community Outreach Award. Great meeting, wonderful to catch up with people. And again, like we said, a lot of agenda items that they're still ready to tackle in 2026. Markets, I'm taking a look at the wheat market. That's up about 8 cents on the midday, although everything is green as far as corn and beans right now. Dairy market's a little on the quiet side. Barrel cheese was unchanged, 135 3/4. 40-pound block cheese stays unchanged at 129. But Josh, butter ends the week on a positive note, up 4 cents to $1.35.5 per pound. So there you go. Quick wrap up from lovely Lambeau on a Friday afternoon.
All right, Pam, I'm kind of jealous of you that you sent Buck up to do the shoveling. I got to do that when I get home today, so not looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Well, you have a good weekend. Let's get an update now on that certified most accurate forecast with First Warn meteorologist Savannah Brito. The good news is the temperatures are staying mild for now.
Yeah, they actually have risen, Josh, above freezing level, which is helping melt some of that snow on roadways. Most of these are in good shape, or at least a lot better of a shape than what we saw this morning. We've got lots of green, which is seasonal or regular good winter weather driving conditions. But near Watertown, and more specifically southeast of that area, still some blues and pinks, which are completely covered, and then partially covered, which is that blue. So still seeing some issues east of Madison. That's because they saw the snow linger and it got to them later since it moved west to east. Here's a look at our snowfall totals at the lunchtime hour. Sullivan almost saw 4 inches. Heartland 3.2. Beaver Dam saw 3 inches. Columbus 2.8. Portage and at the station I measured 2.5 inches. Stoughton saw 2.2. Montello saw 2 inches. Partyville and Argyle both saw 1.8 inches. We're not actively seeing snow fall at this point at 12:17, but we are going to see more snow showers form. That's already the case right behind me. Prairie du Chien and out across Iowa near Decorah, seeing some of that lighter snow continue to form. We're going to see that move in later this afternoon, and it'll turn pretty active again. Can't rule out some of those areas that see moderate to even heavy snow. Snow squalls still are a possibility for later this afternoon and evening. I think we will see that potentially for those afternoon and evening commutes a little later in the day. This is looking at about 2:30, heading into that 4 to 5 p.m. time frame. So I do think we'll see snow showers return for Dane County and a lot of scattered snow showers for southern Wisconsin. Here's a look at your lunchtime temperatures, 35 in Platteville and Madison. Pretty much everyone Wisconsin Dells southward is seeing above freezing level. There's a few areas that are below that or at that. Viroqua is at 32, Fond du Lac and Sheboygan at 31, slightly below that. But again, no snow is falling right now. When you factor in the wind chill, these are still below freezing level all across the map. 29, that feels like temperature in Madison this afternoon, 26 in Janesville, and 23 in Wisconsin Dells. Like I mentioned, afternoon and evening commutes I think could still be impacted. Not at this point unless you're east of Madison, but late afternoon, early evening, and then also the later evening commutes too. We'll have very low visibilities at times too when those heavier bands of snow move back in. Snow squalls remain possible today, not only today, but Sunday with the second system that arrives too. This was a Clipper-like system, quick moving, got out of here, but we will see additional snow showers. This is 3:30 west of Madison moving in across the area, and that will continue through the evening and even the nighttime hours. Additional snowfall, probably about up to an inch with the band that moves in later this afternoon and evening. We'll still have flurries later tonight into early Saturday morning. At that point in time, we are not expecting additional snowfall. But then Sunday, that'll be a different story again as this next Clipper-like system will move in. This is late morning, early afternoon. Basically could reach Madison right at about 10 or 11 in the morning, and that'll ramp up through the rest of the afternoon and evening. I think for this system on Sunday, 1 to 2 inches of additional snowfall accumulation. Some areas could see localized 3 inches though, and then we're tracking the bitter cold to follow that. So yes, it's going to be cold this weekend with highs in the teens, but then when you factor in the wind chill, our alert day conditions will be in place Sunday night through Tuesday, because look at those lows, -1 Sunday night and -2 Monday. Martin Luther King Jr. Day only calling for a high of 5, but when you factor in the wind chill, Josh, could be as low as -35. So I'm missing those 50s we had just 3 days ago.
I was going to say, yeah, that 5 should have another number after it, in
0.
my opinion. But all right, Savannah, thank you. Up next at noon, we sit down with our friends at Madison Magazine, hear the latest on the local food scene and what's to come in 2026. Welcome back. We've got Emma Waldinger, the food editor for Madison Magazine, back with an update this month. Hi, Emma. Happy New Year. We haven't seen each other.
Happy New Year, Josh.
You know, there's a lot to look forward to in 2026, and you had a recent article that's kind of breaking down the latest in the Madison food scene.
Yeah, so this article that just came out last week, it's our 2025 year in review of restaurants, bars, and cafes. 39 new restaurant concepts and food businesses opened in Madison in the last year, so there's a lot to look back at.
It's interesting to put a number to it. Here's a little overview, and you're going to see some of these images cycling through. It's always interesting just to see the year-by-year growth. Sometimes it's the other way, but it seems like things are off to a really good start right now.
Yeah, we're seeing pretty consistent numbers with last year. If we just kind of do an overview though, you know, restaurants and cafes seem to do pretty well this year. We had a number of notable reopenings, expansions from already existing restaurants and cafes, and then also a few location changes. We did see bars were kind of down this year though. Only 6 new bars opened in Madison in 2025, which is the year before that in 2024 there was more than double new bar openings.
It's interesting to see how that can vary from year to year.
Yeah.
Any reason that you believe might be spearheading that?
Yeah, I try to keep in touch with like kind of the different trends in the food world, both on the hyper-local level and also the national level. A lot less people are drinking, and I think that maybe contributes to it in a way. I don't have exact data that demonstrates that for our market specifically, but I have to think that must contribute a little bit.
It's cool that you can look at the data from year to year, because every year is so different. And here at Madison, I know one of the things you said that is really growing is coffee shops.
Yes, we had a lot of new coffee shops this year. If you read our December cover story, we kind of went all out on coffee shops, and it seems like the right time to do so. We had 8 new cafes open in the Madison area, and those are just locally owned spots. So we're not even including chains in that number. Some notable spots, Vitruvius Cafe and Tea, which you see on the screen right now. It's a new spot in Middleton, locally owned by an architect. It's a really cute spot. I'm also really excited about Rasta Barista in the new, it's in the new Black Business Hub. It's owned by 2 Jamaican natives who are bringing coffee from Jamaica to Madison and serving it there. And then also Java Abilities, which is a really cool cafe concept where they're employing people who are differently abled and giving them a chance to have a job.
And I know we've done some stories on them here at News 3 Now as well. Any idea how 2026 is shaping up to be? Because that's also part of this article.
Yes. There are some very exciting openings in 2026. So the long-awaited Madison Public Market should finally be opening in 2026. We've got to cross our fingers because it gets pushed back a lot, but I think we're really looking forward to that this year. We've also got a new speakeasy bar opening downtown on East Wilson Street. It's called Veil and Vault, and we won't know exactly where it is until it opens and we go and find it.
Oh, I love that. That's cool. It's always interesting for you because, I mean, this is your job. You get to go out and investigate what's going to be new to town, and I know Madisonians always really thrive off that. They're always trying to find that next new thing.
Yeah, and I mean, what's really fun about our restaurant scene here is a lot of the popular restaurants, they'll open another concept and they'll keep expanding, and we get to see new concepts come out of the same owners. So this year we've got a new concept for the first time in a long time from the owners of Sardine and Gates and Brovey. That's going to be on Lakeside Street. And then also Bloom Bake Shop has its mini empire on Monroe Street. They've got Lalonde as well, and they just bought the old One and Only space, and they're going to open a new concept this year too.
That is so exciting. All right, where can folks find all your coverage at?
You can find it all at madisonmagazine.com, or you can pick up an issue on a newsstand. But if you want to check out this recent article I wrote about the 2025 year in review, check it out at madisonmagazine.com.
All right, next time you're here, we'll be talking Restaurant Week, which is right around the corner.
It is. Mark your calendars for the last week of January.
All right, Emma, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh.
And here's Savannah with a final check of your forecast.
Thanks, Josh. We're dry for the time being, but we are seeing additional snow showers just west of Prairie du Chien. Eventually, those are going to continue to move in for southern Wisconsin. So we're not done with the snow yet, just seeing that lull or break in activity before we see those additional snow showers. I think that could impact the later commutes and overnight into early tomorrow morning. So just be mindful of that. Plan ahead. We will still have some snow. And then the bitter cold to follow and more snow in the weekend forecast. Not until Sunday. We'll see a few flurries tomorrow, but that high Monday, Josh, not looking too good.
No, it is not. Thank you, Savannah. And thanks for watching News 3 Now at noon. Coming up next is The Bold and the Beautiful. Our next newscast is live at 4, and you can find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+.